Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. Are you new to web development and want to learn how to create user accounts with a login system? In this video, we'll dive into the world of Xampp, PHP, and MySQL, guiding you through the process of building a secure and functional sign-up and login system from scratch. For setting up Xampp, watch my previous video, you will get link in description. And source code link also. Open the htdocs folder within the Xampp folder. Create a new folder called login signup. Now launch Visual Studio Code and pick the folder. Create a new file named signup.html. Set the HTML tag, head tag, title tag, and meta character set to UTF-8. Underneath the head tag and under the body tag, create a basic registration form with fields for name, email, password, and confirm password. The required property guarantees that the user completes all fields before submitting the form. The action element defines the URL where the form data will be delivered when the user presses the submit button. Let's look at the form output by opening any browser. Enter localhost /login signup /signup.html in the URL. To style the form, we will apply a classless CSS framework, is a CSS style sheet that styles HTML components based on their semantic tags and does not require any extra classes or attributes. Here, I am using Water.css, which is classless, responsive, themable, and accessible. Now we need a new file named validation.php. Is a PHP script for validating user input from a registration form. Begin with the PHP opening and closing tag. Print underscore r, dollar underscore post. This line prints the contents of the dollar underscore post array, which contains the form data. In the HTML file link, the validation.php file is now used as an action. It means that when the user submits the form data will be delivered to the validation.php file using the post method. The post method sends the form data in a separate message, which is more secure and capable of handling larger amounts of data. Change input type from text to password in password and con from password label. Now it works properly. Click the submit button. It will redirect to the validation.php file. Here we can see our data. In the page source, we can view our data as an array. This line controls whether the name field in the form was left empty. If it was, the script would stop operating and display the message name is required. Recheck our HTML page. If we leave it blank, it displays some message, but it comes from the HTML required element. So clear all and check again. So here, I'm getting output from PHP file. This line validates the email field in the post array using the filter validate email filter. If the email is not valid, the script will terminate with the message valid email is required using die. This line checks if the length of the password field in the post array is less than 8 characters. If it is, the script will terminate with the message password must be at least 8 characters using die. This line to check if the password field contains at least one letter. If not, the script will terminate with the message password must contain at least one letter, again using die. And to check if the password field contains at least one number. If not, the script will terminate with the message password must contain at least one number. It checks if the confirm password field does not match the password field. If they don't match, the script will terminate with the message passwords must match. Password hash. This is a variable that will hold the hashed version of the password. It's good practice to store passwords in a hashed form rather than in plain text for security reasons. Password hash. A PHP function designed for hashing passwords. It takes two parameters, the password to be hashed and the algorithm to be used for hashing. This line prints detailed information about the password hash variable, which now contains the hashed password. Now, let's construct a database. Open any browser and enter localhost/phpMyadmin. Click Database to create a new database named as login_db, then click Create. Choose a database and create a table called User. Click Create again. The first column is for ID, int for integer. Scroll right and check _I for auto increment, and the index is set to primary. The following columns are for name, type to varchar, length to 50, and email varchar 128 accordingly. Scroll right to index and choose unique, so that two rows of the column don't contain the same email. The last column is for the password field, which is varchar and has a length of 255. And save. Now, create a new file called database.php. Begin with PHP, opening and closing tag. And to connect to the database, create variables, store the information needed to connect to the MySQL database. $host is the host name where the database server is located. $dbname is the name of the database. $username is the MySQL user default root. And $password is the password for the MySQL user. No password is set, so leave blank. This line creates a new MySQLi object, establishing a connection to the MySQL database. The constructor of the MySQLi class is used with named parameters, hostname, username, password, and database, where each parameter corresponds to the connection details. This block of code checks if there was an error during the connection process. If an error occurred, it prints an error message and terminates the script using die. The error message includes information about the connection error retrieved using $mysqli connect_error. If the connection is successful, the MySQLi object is returned. This is typically done so that you can use this database connection object in other parts of your code. This is a PHP statement to include and execute the code in the file database.php in MySQLi variable. Creates a SQL statement designed to insert a new user record into the user table. The placeholders, represent values that will be dynamically inserted later and preventing SQL injection attacks. Statement object using the established database connection, MySQL stmt-execute to insert the new user record into the database. If preparation fails, example, due to syntax errors, the code within the if block executes, indicating an error and terminating the script. Bind param method binds values to the placeholders in the prepared statement. SSS specifies the data types of the values being bound, where S string data type. Execute. This method triggers the execution of the prepared statement. It sends the query to the database for processing along with the bound values. Together, let's review it, complete the fields, and submit. Displays the issue once more, let's fix it. Alright, operating smoothly. Go to the phpMyadmin now. Therefore, all of the data was entered into the database. Don't required these command now. And print sign up successfully. Inserting data, it will display a message. Error shows the email is repeated. Because the email is in unique index. So, sign up with a different email. Here you can see the password is in hash value. When sign up successfully, we should redirect to another page. Let's create a new file called success.html. Copy the header part from the signup.html page and paste. Inside the p tag, write something like successfully sign up. And close the body and HTML tag. Back to the validation.php file, clear the echo statement and create a header function. Inside the location, give success.html page address. It is good practice to give an exit statement when the header is finished. Let's give it a try. We've successfully signed in. Let's now develop a login form. Make a new file with the name login.php. We will be creating an HTML login form, which is required. Simply copy and paste the header section from the sign up page into this field. Login using the h1 tag. Make a form tag and add two fields, one for email and the other for password under tags. And a submit button for login. Now, come back to the success.html page. Under p tag give an a tag, link to login page. In the success.html page, a login button is formed. This will redirect us to login.html page. We will use the same script to handle this form. Therefore, we will add a method property to describe the post method instead of adding an action attribute to the form tag. Right above the HTML at the top of the file, we are going to add the opening and closing PHP tags. This is a conditional statement, checks if the current request method is post. It includes a file named database.php and assigns the returned value to the variable MySQL. This code constructs a SQL query to retrieve all user information based on an email address. Real escape string method is used to prevent SQL injection by escaping special characters. Executes the SQL query using the database connection and stores the result in the variable result. Fetches the first row from the result, set as an associative array, and assigns it to the variable user. This assumes that the query is expected to return only one row. Displays the user data that has been obtained for debugging purposes using var_dump user. Exit statements. Let's try that out. If I don't input anything, the result is nil. When I submit an email address that I know isn't in the database, we also receive a null. When I input an email address that I know is in the database, an associative array with the information from that record is returned. Instead of printing this out, let's make sure that the user variable contains an array of data and isn't null. To do this, we can use a simple if statement. If a record for that email address is found, we can then check the password. The password is obtained from the form in plain text, but the password hash is stored in the database. To confirm that the hash matches the plain text password, we use the password verify function, which returns true if they match and false otherwise. Let's check for that, and for the time being, we'll just print a message and stop the script. If I enter the correct information in the login form, we are shown the login successful message. Such that if the credentials are incorrect, we are just given a blank login form once more.
I hope this video has been informative and helpful. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos on computer hardware and other tech topics.